Welcome back, gamers. Today I'm going to review Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six Siege is the new Ubisoft tactical fast-paced shooter. Now, a lot of you guys are probably sitting right there going, "But Ken, it's not a tactical shooter." And that's why I called it a fast-paced tactical shooter instead of a simulation tactical shooter. See, there's different categories of it. Why? Because, well, the game doesn't allow you to jump everywhere. You don't want to hip fire because it's not accurate, it spreads everywhere, so you want to aim down your sights, and also the fact that you have to move cautiously with your group. You can't just bust in there like Call of Duty or Counter-Strike and expect to get some kills. Yeah, you might be the best player in the world and you might get a couple people down, but in the end, you're going to get shot down and you're going to probably lose it for the team. As for what type of movements your characters have in the game, they can lean left or right, they can crouch, prone down, move back on their backs, or rappel down buildings. The game is heavily focused on the multiplayer aspect of the game. There is single player missions in the game, which will get you used to some of the maps in the game. There are 10 maps total, but it does not have a single player campaign. So if you're looking for a single campaign, unfortunately, it's not going to be in this game. There's also a cooperation PvE type of gameplay so that you and the others can take on AIs in the game and complete missions. But the core gameplay itself revolves around the multiplayer casual and ranked mode. Ranked mode being accessible to the players when they hit level 20. The gameplay revolves around two teams made up of 5 players each, an attacker and a defender team. The defense team, of course, is the terrorist team, or the bad guys. Their objective is to guard a hostage or a chemical device until the timer runs out or until they kill off all the attacker team. And of course, the attacker side is the good guys, the cops. Their goal is to breach and also get the objective, either the hostage out or disarm the device or kill off the enemy team before time runs out. Now, during the beginning of the match, each team is given a limited amount of time to do what the team has to do. For example, the attackers have to send out little drones and try to search out where the defense is set up, while the defense team is setting up electronic jamming equipment, barricading windows, barricading doors, setting up guns, traps, etc. And that's pretty much the core concept of the game, attacker versus defense, and then it switches out. So the first team that wins 3 times wins the game. However, there is certain times when the game ties up 2-2. There will be tiebreakers, or if you're 2-1, and then let's say during the match, 2 people kill each other at the same time, which happened in one of my games, the team that is ahead will win the game. So basically, the best out of 6 wins the match. So this is pretty much the core concept of the game. As you play and win the game, you'll earn renown points and XP. The renown can be used to spend to unlock operators or to add attachment to the guns. In terms of weapons and loadouts in this game, there isn't 20 different type of weapons for each class or operators. However, for each of their role, they do carry a different weapon. There's a variation of between 2 to 4 each, and also they do carry a pistol that you can choose between a few variation of. The attachments themselves are also limited to scopes, silencers, muzzles, and also grip attachments to help the weapon out a bit. As for the graphics of the game, the graphics is decent. It's not next gen crazy, but they are pretty nice for this type of game. The one main attractive thing about this game is definitely the physics of the game and the special effects that's added to it. The one thing I like the most is how you can actually punch through walls, shoot through certain materials in the game with your guns, and also be able to blow up ceilings or barricades in the game to get to the enemy. As for the special effects in the game I'm talking about, I'm referring to how the room shakes when a breach is made, or when the lights shake on top when enemies are coming from the top. So it's directional. You can actually know where enemies are coming from depending on explosions. So those type of effects add a lot of immersion to the gameplay. With the destructible walls, it really does add a lot of depth to the gameplay itself. Now, of course, since walls play a key role in the game, they can be blocked off by the defense team. Each defense team carry about 2 pieces they can use to block off. The offense team has a way to counter this also with thermites or certain ways to break through. So the operators in the game so far, I feel like they've been really balanced real well. They've done a lot of testing and betas for this game, and there's been a lot of work involved for the gameplay. So far, I haven't encountered anything unbalanced, but it's going to take a couple hundred more games to figure out if there's any little bit of unbalance or unfairness in the game so far. But overall, I think they put a lot of effort into the gameplay, and the operators are really well balanced with their strengths and weaknesses are right just for them, and it makes it feel different every time you play a different class because of this. So, as I said before, there are 10 maps in the game. Each of the maps varies depending on the map. There's a bank map and there's also an airplane map. All the maps are really well designed and they're really big. So they're not just small maps. Lots of covers, lots of rooms and quarters, and lots of places. My favorite is definitely the one that takes place on the airplane. One of the elements in the gameplay that I almost forgot to mention, which I think is phenomenal, is how death and spectating works in this game. In most games, when you die, you can't communicate with your team, you're a ghost, you fly around, you're spectating, and that's pretty much it. You fiddle your thumb till the next round. And in this game, it's phenomenal how they really set this up. Instead of just dying and sitting there fiddling your thumb, you can actually work with your team and take over cameras. When you die in this game, you can only see through the eyes of your teammates, or you can actually see through the cameras, depending on what it is. If you're on the attacking, it's the drones. On the defense, it's cameras around the building. Until they get shot out, of course, and then at that point you really can't do much from there. Now, as for the multiplayer servers in the game so far, the servers are dedicated, which is really nice. However, I'm hearing reports that the game is on 16 to 32 hertz of tick rate. If you don't know what tick rate is, short explanation is it's how fast your game client is updated by the server you're playing on. So games like Counter-Strike has like up to 120 hertz of tick rate. For this game, it's only 16 to 32, which is unacceptable to most people. And of course, what happened is when you play the game, you'll probably see it. So hopefully they'll work on this and update the tick rate, because otherwise that makes the competitive ranked play pretty much useless. Finally, the one thing I will mention about the game is that it does have microtransactions. The microtransactions in this game, usually I hate them, but it doesn't bug me in this game because all it does is boost the renown you earn. You can unlock certain things in the game with renown already. There are certain skins and there are boosts to help you earn more renown through microtransactions, but that's it. I mean, it doesn't hinder your gameplay in any way. You can play the game, earn the points, and unlock all the operators and all the attachment just by working hard. So with all that being said about Rainbow Six Siege, we come to the main conclusion of this entire review, which is this game worth $60? Is it worth my hard-earned money for one type of game mode, all multiplayer, it's attack and siege, and that's all you're going to see? In my opinion, I think it is worth $60 in terms of what the gameplay has to offer and how fresh it is. The gameplay I'm referring to is how the variations of scenarios work in this game. A scenario can be different depending on what's happening in the situation. For example, a team might use a different operators. You have 10 operators on each side, and depending on the combination of operators, it can change the entire scenario completely. Players can come from the top, players can come from windows, they can come from a different direction, you can trick enemies. I mean, there's a lot of tactics involved that you can pull off in this game, which is really nice. And communication is really, really important in this game when facing a really good group, because there's going to come a time when you're going to find a team that does a lot of communication, and you'll find that they do much better than other teams. So communication plays a huge role in this game, and the gameplay is always different for every scenario. Not only that, but until a ranked mode, you can't really choose where the hostage shows up, or the bomb shows up, or where the offense ends up, so it's always randomized until ranked mode. But that adds a lot of replayability to the game because it changes up the scenario through different rounds. So with the operators and the different variations that's involved, the game is kept very fresh because of this every time you play. And finally, guys, with the amount of shooters out there nowadays, there's Call of Duty, Arma, CSGO, Battlefront, Battlefield, you name it. The core concept of this game, the way it works, is way different from other games, so it makes it fresh to play this game. So that's pretty much sums up my review for the game. If you're a person that's looking for a shooter to play that's different from the norm, a bit of tactics involved, teamwork, etc., check out this game, check out more videos about it, look up more clips, and do some research. Check this game out. But if you want more than just a multiplayer type of gameplay, or if you're an esporter and you're looking to play this game competitively, you might want to wait and see if they update the netcode because of the tick rate. Otherwise, great game to play. Thanks for watching, guys. This is my review for Rainbow Six Siege. Game on.
One Op 4 remaining. Op 4 neutralized. Mission successful.